Guys, let's take it back here now to our Bill of the Month series. That's, of course, our partnership with Kaiser Health News and NPR. This morning, we are looking at medical billing mistakes and the case of two Grace Elliots. It involved a California woman who visited a hospital in Florida nearly a decade ago, and then she found herself on the hook for another patient's surgery bill. Grace Elliott was confused when she received an $1,100 surgery bill from a hospital in Venice, Florida, thousands of miles from her California home.
And so my first thought was maybe it's a scam. I called the hospital and we figured out that it wasn't my bill. It was someone else's bill.
The actual surgery patient was 81-year-old Grace A. Elliott, but ShorePoint Health billed 31-year-old Grace E. Elliott, whose name was still in the hospital database from a 2013 visit. Eventually, the debt was sold to a collection agency.
I wondered, is this going to affect my credit? The debt collector told me, we can't speak to you about this account. You need to talk to the hospital. And the hospital told me, well, we fixed everything.
The debt collector, Medical Data Systems, kept billing the younger Grace Elliott and even sent her the older patient's medical records.
Because of all the information they sent me, I was able to find this other woman. I wanted to let her know about all of this so that she could know that her personal information was out there.
After months of frustration, Grace E. Elliott asked Kaiser Health News to investigate and soon received a written apology from the hospital. ShorePoint Health told CBS News, quote, "The hospital clearly made a mistake here. The error has been corrected and steps have been taken to ensure it will not happen again." Medical Data Systems declined to comment about the case, but told Kaiser Health News it, quote, "follows all state and federal rules and regulations." And Grace E. Elliott says the collection letters have finally stopped.
We're coming on a year later, and it's wasted a lot of my time. This could have been fixed so easily.
Kaiser Health News editor-in-chief Dr. Elisabeth Rosenthal joins us now. Dr. Rosenthal, I mean, this woman did everything right, yet this still happened. Is this common?
Well, we don't know how common it is, but yes, it's very easy with electronic medical records to insert mistakes, and then those mistakes are perpetuated kind of to eternity.
Yeah, and how can changes be made in order for this not to happen again?
Well, what I recommend is that everyone take a look at that patient portal. Most of us are like, oh, it's a headache to do that, but it's really important, and if you see a mistake there, start early and get it corrected, do whatever it takes, even if it takes going into the medical records office and sitting there with your arms folded until they do.
So try to comb through it and find the mistakes. If
because in this case, it was a mistake of identity. It might be a mistake of you're allergic to a drug that you're not, or that you have a disease you don't. I mean, there are many problems.
I'm surprised that these medical organizations are still sending, or they're still selling, I'm not sure how it works exactly, to debt collectors who, we've done tons of stories about how unscrupulous debt collectors are. They harass people, they harass family members of people. Why are they still doing this?
Well, we did an investigation this year called Diagnosis Debt, and we called hundreds of hospitals, and we estimate that about a quarter of them do sell debt to debt collectors. And then, you know, for a debt collector, a debt is a debt is a debt. And they don't care if, like, you didn't have that surgery or you're not the right Grace Elliott. They're just going to go after you.
So starting next July, the three main credit reporting agencies are going to be clearing medical debt off of credit reports. How important is this?
Well, it's kind of a first step, but it's not all medical debt, right? So first what they're doing is they won't put on medical debt that's under $500. But if you walk into a U.S. hospital, your bill is going to be more than $500.
Right.
The other thing they're going to do is they say that if you've paid it off, it will be removed. But what we found is that 100 million Americans have medical debt. About a quarter of them have debt that's more than $5,000. So, you know, and a quarter of the people thought they would never be able to pay off their debt in their lifetimes. So it's going to be on their credit. So we need a lot more from regulators on this.
I know you've touched on it a little bit, but there's some people at home that are walking past the TV and they're stopping in their tracks because they're in a similar situation. Like, wait a minute. So what can they do?
Well, you know, Grace Elliott, the younger Grace Elliott, did all the right things. I think you just have to be really, really persistent. If that doesn't work, I really suggest calling your state Consumer Protection Bureau because this is not a medical issue, it's a consumer issue, really. And, you know, if all else fails, call Bill of the Month.
Well, I was going to say, because
Right?
it was through you.
We're the final cops in this.
It was through the efforts of Kaiser Health News that you, all of a sudden, the hospital responded. And I just wonder, not everybody's going to know to do that.
Right.
And you can't obviously investigate everybody who comes to you, but it was an important point of this.
And you must be flooded with people sending you their bills.
Yeah, we have thousands and thousands of bills right now. And it's, you know, a sign of how dysfunctional our system is and how unfair it is to people that we're the solution. You know, journalism shouldn't be the solution to people being in medical debt.
But we thank you for doing your part, though.
And you too.
Dr. Elisabeth Rosenthal, thank you so much.